It's been a little while. It's been a second. To be honest, I've been a little discouraged about feeling like the league is rigged. But I'm gonna keep the hope alive. I'm still going to tune in, and I want to tune in with this. After watching the footage of Phillips and how Phillips beat a man off the ball, off the line, and then didn't even go after the ball, didn't go after the quarterback, and then turned around and disengaged. I feel like that could be a little personal. I mean, I know we live in a world where we're not robots and people got, personal agendas and so forth. So on, I think that might have been something, maybe he just came to make a couple dollars, but that was sabotage. That was just crazy. But I want to talk about this defense and also I kind of feel like if I could speak a little bit about the offense just real quick. Looking at Dak, I mean, a lot of people are saying it ain't Dak, it ain't the coach, it's the passion and the players, but I kind of disagree with it because, looking at Dak and then thinking about Zeke, and I had high hopes for CD that CD wouldn't get a big contract and that the Cowboys under Jerry Jones would be a laughing stock just because of other things, I guess, with the organization that people just looking for paychecks. But I feel like Zeke even got passion to come back and do well. I think that Zeke has already done some good things since he's been back. Um, and Lamb looks like he want to win, but disappointment, big losses like that could do two things. Like I was just listening to Wanye talk to Law Nation, is if you gonna go punch somebody in the mouth or you gonna get punched in the mouth again. And you gotta and it shows the mentality of the characters in the locker room. Whether you could take a big loss like that and you could get in your feelings about it and do something about it, or you can have a different kind of chip on your shoulder where you shrug it, and it's like I don't. What do I care? Um, so I do believe that we definitely had an opportunity to turn things around from week two, and even be better than week one. I'm just hoping that Dak don't let the money, like he said, the money he don't play for the money, and I could agree with him to an extent, only because of what I've seen. Words actually speak louder than words. Dak has said that people didn't agree because he wanted the money. I mean, he should. He should. I don't blame him for wanting to take care of his family, have generational wealth. And I also feel like maybe his skill set don't deserve that kind of money or don't say that kind of money. But I do believe that he deserves it because of, oh man, I'll continue here. I do believe that he deserves it because of all that he's been through as a cowboy. He's been through a lot as a cowboy, a lot. Um, I think that Dak was at his best when he was on the bootleg, when he was able to roll out. I think that Dak was at his best when he had a strong run game that catered to it. That option or that bootleg comes off of a good run game. You can run through every gap. Good old line. I think that we can get back to a form of that and it build over the course of the season because we got rookies on the line who are good talents but need the experience, need the maturity, needs the reps and to be able to understand what you're up against. After Guyton heard Parsons tell him that you went up against the two best and going up against him in practice and then going up against Miles Garrett was not a good idea because everybody is different. He had to go up against Chase Young, and Chase Young really had his way majority of the game. And I know I said I was coming on here to talk about defense, but I can't help myself. And just thinking about how, um, you know, the creativity of the coaches, like I said, that hearing podcasts, people who love the Cowboys speak about not having an early peak. An early peak is like no peak. You don't want to play your best football early in the season. I disagree with that. That's not the mindset of a Super Bowl team. You don't hear this type of talk after Kansas City loss. You see the agony for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes ain't playing for no paycheck. Patrick Mahomes go out there and have fun. They play like they're in the backyard and they love what they're doing. They're enjoying it. And they don't like losing while doing it. And that's the way the mentality of a Super Bowl team when you got creativity. You give your best every week. It doesn't matter who fumes, studies you, or none of that. Because behind good coaching with creativity, and it's like a chess game. Your best is never going to be the same. Your best is going to change from team to team. How you plan, how you prepare, how you even give them the edge and the benefit of the doubt, things that they may never do, things they might do not do the whole team, but you say, well, this team got this team got that. They can attack us this way, they can attack us that way. Even if they don't do it, you're prepared for it. You know your own weakness. You prepare yourself like a boxing match. You prepare yourself knowing that I'm working on this and this needs to get stronger, this needs to get better. But while working on that, I'm gonna protect it with this. I'm gonna make sure you don't dominate me because of that. I'm gonna make sure you can't have your way with me because of that, and I'm gonna use my strengths with my weakness as my weaknesses are getting perfected, both getting perfected. That's a Super Bowl team. That's a team that don't go out there and perform the way we did in week 2. You're not going to any talk about underestimating the team. No, that's not a Super Bowl mentality. You treat the 32 32nd ranked team as if they was the number 2 ranked team and you the number 1, and you go at them like that every team every week. That's a mentality. That's your best is your mentality, not your schemes, because your schemes gonna change from time to time, but your mentality shouldn't. Your mentality should always be the same. Your mentality should always be, we're gonna go out here and dominate. We're gonna go out here and execute, no matter who it is we playing against, with a good plan, a good scheme that comes behind that mentality, and you go out there and execute. So I just wanted to speak that. But coming to the defensive side of the lack of execution, yeah, there are glimpses of Zimmerman doing good things, but I don't agree with how the players played because of Zimmerman's scheme. I feel like his scheme has a lot of good to it, but I feel like it can be tweaked in the areas where you got players playing out of position. I feel as though, like I said early on, but at the start of the season, we should be in the 3-4 defense. People say it don't matter. It's the same thing. You got the same personnel. No, the personnel even changes. Personnel is majority the same. Some of it is the same, and some of the 3-4-4-3 is kind of the same. But them gaps, when you spread it out, you got too far here and too far here. The middle is open, and you got to have a certain personnel to be able to do that. Defensive tackles who can come from one side and they can see the backfield and they can see the movement of the O line and react fast enough to shift, to rip, and to get to and to close the gap if necessary. But you're already on the outside edge to kind of to sustain that spot and just stay there where the edge rushers can get around and you can kind of like um maintain, not maintain is not the word I was looking for, but contain, maintain, contain, but with force, with pressure, where you can still get in while the guys come around the edge and the quarterback don't have a pocket to step up into because you dominant enough to push into it. We don't really have both. We have I would give to like Mozzie. He has some strength. I believe he can push the pocket. But when it comes to his technique, I feel like that, like I was mentioning Guyton and even BB, technique, I feel like those, and BB got good technique, but I feel like that would develop because these guys are young. It's almost like a rookie still for Mozzie. He get a lot of slander, and you can see it, the discouragement, because not being coached up. And I feel like Zimmerman does well at coaching them up and putting faith and trust in them, but he take a lot of slander because of things that goes into the unsuccess or the expectations, the lack of expectations um, happening for the players, happening for the team, especially in week 2. If Mozzie uses his strength over that nose right in the middle as a 3-4 defensive tackle. Some people might feel like he ain't big enough, ain't strong enough. I feel like he is big enough and strong enough. It doesn't have to be a Dexter Lawrence like I was hoping we would have somebody like him, but it's good enough if you put Nealon and Osa right next to him, and then it gives all three of them the ability to play to their strengths. Nealon and Osa can get after the quarterback, but they're not edge rushers. They don't have that type of Micah Parsons athleticism and speed, but they have strength. And Osa has good technique, decent enough technique to play a pass rush, not from edge, but interior. Because he's like a D tackle slash DN, just like Nealon, with that strength that he has. He's in a DN body with a D tackle ability, physicality, and it just needs to be coached up some as far as technique. And I feel like that would happen, like even naturally, from being able to play interior DN in a 3-4 defensive attack. Because it gears them to their strength, one, as run stoppers. They're both run stoppers. Osa and Nealon are run stoppers. They're not run stoppers from a body of a defensive tackle. They're run stoppers from a body of a defensive end. Run stoppers in a defensive end body. And in this league, you can't put that at edge because they're gonna get beat burnt every time unless they're very, very dominant, like maybe who Nealon is even compared to in a sense that some people say Tank, but I think that Tank is more of a Tank is people don't realize Tank really one of the best or have the build as one of the best overall defensive ends in the league, like with Bosa and Myles Garrett. Just a notch under Miles because he has explosion. He has had speed. He's getting older, but he has had speed to play edge. That's why he could stop a screen, and also because of his experience, his mentality, and his IQ to stop a screen, a pitch to a running back, an outside zone run, as well as be able to line up on the inside or even from the outside, come to the inside from the defensive end position and stop the run, rush the passer, stop the run, outside, inside, rush, inside, outside. He does it all, right? But I feel like at this point in his career, as he's gotten older, you'll see glimpses of it when everybody's in the right position. But you probably won't get it all the time because he's getting older, but you get a lot of it. He still is very productive. And I feel as though that at the end of his career, at this portion of his career, you shouldn't even be straining him in that D. He always been in a DN body with the capability, like I said, of doing interior things with his strength. We got good strength at the defensive end position, but he's the only one with that strength that could also play edge. But that is the reason why everybody else is out of position because you want him at edge where he can do what he does, but it doesn't cater to the other players that are not at the strength of doing what they do. So, you would ask a vet who's been able to do something for so long to be able to switch and do something else that will cater to the success of the team and other players being in position, like Pierre Paul, what is it? Paul Pierre Gazon, whatever his name is, the one that played defensive end for the Giants and was on that Super Bowl defense in Tampa Bay. They moved him to an outside linebacker in the 3-4. It catered to Levante David moving from outside linebacker to inside linebacker with Devin White playing sideline to sideline with his IQ. I feel like that is perfect for this defense if you put him on the side with a free safety, because the free safety is usually always high. There's not a that he's further away from the box to come down and support in the run game. But you got Tank there. If you put him in a 3-4, it also helps with scheme. Allow him to play on that side where he can do what he does against the run. He can play the edge. What Micah struggle with. Them runs to Micah's side, They didn't go to Tank side like that. So you put Tank right there in that spot on the side where the best guard is or the best tackle and let him use his strength to be able to stop outside runs at edge. I seen him drop back from the defensive end, 4-3 defensive end in week one, and I think in week two. So the scheme is there with Zimmerman, but the personnel is off. Again, you got Hooker and in a two deep safety, whether it was cover two man or zone, you're not supposed to get beat deep in the middle of the field. I think it was Shaheed that caught that. They were kind of there, but they was not there because of personnel. Hooker and Wilson, they don't have that type of speed against the Tyreek Hills and those players unless they're gonna drop back a little bit deeper. And then now you are a little more ineffective in your scheme because if you got to drop safeties back that far to cover the deep pass, then you do everything underneath, like run the ball. Then when you could suck them in, you beat them over the top. So this is what leads me to speaking about the safety, but I want to finish with this front seven because I know that I made mention of trading Donald Wilson. But because I know that this roster, without adding or taking away from it, is good enough for a Super Bowl, I would keep him because of what he does bring. He's not versatile to be able to. I'm going to safety anyway, but I'll go back to front seven. He's not that. He's not the versatile type to cover, stop the run, cover a tight end, fill gaps in the secondary, and play rangy. He has range, of course. He'll come and knock your lights out, but he doesn't have that type of range for coverage. I think Wanye Thomas does. And I think that Hooker has enough of it to play strong safety because he his IQ allows him. He has always been an IQ guy as far as even out this injury to still be able to make plays. A lot of times he's there even if he doesn't make the play at the free safety, because he got to be a little more rangier. I feel like the range that he has would be perfect at the strong safety, where you don't ask him to be as rangy, or if you do ask him to be as rangy, he already kind of like able to do it without focusing on. I feel like the free safety has the free safety position. I feel like it's harder than the strong safety because you have more responsibility of the whole field, last line of defense. I feel like the strong safety is second to that, but more so don't have to do it more so because of the free safety, where you might come down and play in the box a little bit. You might cover a tight end. You might be in the middle, a zone, a spy, or something like that. Because the free safety gonna cover the rest, got your back. And I feel like that's where Hooker should be at in the strong safety, because I feel like that 6'3" frame, he can cover tight ends. How we used to use Curse, but we stopped using Curse that way. Which also brings me to the mentality. Back to the mentality, so I get back to the front seven. That's the one thing we miss Curse for. Curse was that Ray Lewis voice in the locker room. Curse was the one that men listened to. Micah Young, Micah still probably looked at as like and especially with the podcast and some of the things that he has said, probably don't got that he don't command the locker room. He say the right things, but when it comes to getting vets that been there that probably look at him like you old enough to be my nephew or something like that, I feel like they don't give him that kind of respect. And you need a leader voice, a strong one, somebody who will slap you in your helmet and box with you if you buck back, kind of like a Ray Lewis and like a Javon Curse. Javon Curse was that voice. The defense had a whole lot of fire behind it every game because of how Javon Curse had that leadership mentality and that voice, and nobody got in his way. No coach, nobody stopped him from. He would even cuss the players out and not cuss them out, but like his language. It was kind of like violent. He had a violent language that warrant attention to hear what he had to say. And I think that we lack that as far as being a violent defense and being real physical. But that's not the end all be all as to what the coaches should be able to bring. And Zimmerman is that defensive mind. I mean that disciplined mindset of a coach, but I don't think that motivation part of him is there. The players respect him because of his scheme. They respect him because of his knowledge. But as far as respecting him like somebody with some grit, you know, I would say at best less penalties because of the mentality, the mind of knowing how to do things better. But as far as the fire put behind the players to do that, we didn't see that on the last in week 2. We didn't see that. And like I said, I feel again going back to the main portion of what I'm saying about the one thing I think is lack with Zimmerman that goes alongside that fire. That it doesn't have he doesn't have to have that personality to get the best out of the players. Andy Reid don't got that personality, but he got a great mind to not only know scheme, but how to utilize the players to the best of what they offer to a system by having first, of course, getting those players, but also having the mentality to say, okay, we didn't need Tyreek Hill, but it was a bonus. It was it was a luxury. But we can still do this because of Mahomes. We can still do that because we'll use Kelsey this way. We can still do this and have this identity. And if they come at us this way, we're going to attack them that way. And we're going to be versatile. You're not going to be able to box us in. You're not going to be able to stop us from being able to execute and do what we want to do. I feel like that is enough. With personnel being in the right place, you're asking players to do something that they love to do, or they you're not asking them to do something outside their DNA. And then now they discouraged. Now they can't trust in the system as much as they should be able to. Because I'm speaking ahead. This is not what the players feel right now. But if it continues, at some point it will. That's why well, we know Phillips had to go on IR. That was just ignorant. But he wasn't the only one. The whole defense was kind of like out of like they were lost. Week 1, they was in position. Micah moved around a lot. Overshown had more snaps, which I understand why he probably didn't have as many in week 2, which a lot of fans don't like because we want to see him play, but we don't want to see him get hurt again either. So I understand that. But we got the personnel to where you can move him in at the right times. Even you give me 17 snaps. If that's all I'm limited to have in that game week 2 with him, he gonna be in at the right times with the right personnel because Hendricks is more like a 4-3 middle linebacker. He got intelligence, he got IQ, but there's things he's not able to do. It's like I was saying, as far as Law still having it, Tank still having it, but he getting older because his IQ, but he still has some of that athleticism. So do Kendricks, but he never was really like a rangy guy. His range, his rangy, his range came from his IQ. Know how to read and diagnose a play and be a little bit ahead of the game, but that don't always work, especially against good coaching. Them counters, them screens, them playing against you, knowing that you are intelligent and knowing what you want to look for, and use it against you, use leverage against you. Want you to lean this way so we could pull a chair and have you out of position, and that's just good coaching on the Saints end, on the Saints part. Dominated the chess game. But again, players are out of position. I feel as though that Kendricks should be in if you want to go with 4 men on the line, 4-3, nickelback. You got 4 on the line, 2 middle linebackers. I feel like he shouldn't start. I feel like he shouldn't start, and we should be in the 3-4. He can even fill in some of the 3-4 stuff from time to time, depending on position down and who we playing against, opponent. But it should be more so Micah. It should be Kendricks and Overshown. An old person, a young person off injury. Sharon Snap. They shouldn't even be on the field at the same time. One should help the other as far as snaps, as far as wear and tear and toll on the body. And I feel like Overshown should start in the middle of a 3-4 with Micah. Micah would be best as middle linebacker. He can rush from the middle. He can loop around and still come off the edge. Scheme, scheme stuff, but allowing your interior to be right there to because the middle is where we weak. Put three in close. Again, Mozzie in the middle, Osa and Nealon on the sides, and then on the outside of them, you'll have uh Damone. It also caters to him not being a waste because he has great athleticism. He's a great talent, but you got to use him right. I think that we asked for too much from him because of personnel, lack of depth, but now we have that. I feel like he should put on a little weight, beat out that edge guy like linebacker slash DN that can still use his speed, not too heavy, not taking away from his speed, but just big enough to if a fullback or a tight end come to block you to stop you from stopping the edge run, he not getting knocked off his feet or he not getting pushed back, but he could get off a block and use that speed to stop an outside run. Maybe sometimes run a wheel with a running back down the sideline in coverage, or just play in the zone with the speed to still. But you don't got to really worry about a whole lot of the field from the middle. You just worried about one little area at that sideline, and you can still have use that speed as an edge rusher. Ooh, that puts that dynamic back to what Dan Quinn had, having that speed, not a lot of time because you got different players with that ability coming from different places. It's like everybody in there, right? I feel like that would be Nealon and Osa interior. Stop the run, and then if there's no run, you have the strength to get off of a guy off of you, and you penetrate inside, but you still got outside help because you don't have the speed with these new age quarterbacks to stop it. And that's why we use Micah a lot for that, but we don't have to when you would let Damone make his job easier. He has the speed to get out there. Tank on the other side, stopping that run with that high safety. So that would be my personnel. Wanye free, Hooker strong on the same side as Diggs. Diggs gonna have to be on that side. That safety high gonna help whoever that is, whether it's Carson or Bland when he come back to play to their strength, because they are also ball hawks. They want to jump routes. You got safety help over the top with Wanye. Wanye is rangy enough to even come up if it ain't a deep. He come up and hit. Let him do what he does best. And I would have Bland, Wanye, Hooker, Diggs, right in the middle of a 3-4. You got Overshawn, shoot the gap when to run that way. Micah coming right behind you. Micah, run that way. He on it. Overshown coming behind you. They both can play sideline to sideline, and they both physical enough to when they come to plug that middle, if there's a gap and there's something coming up the middle, like how we saw Kendrick didn't do it when Micah was playing DN, and they were just running right to Micah's side. Nobody was coming and hitting that hole, punching in the mouth. Kendrick's a little older. And I understand that, and what I'm saying, you don't want to have a whole lot of that with the Overshown this year because you want to kind of let his body build and you don't want him to get hurt. Okay, but that's the personnel that I feel like should be the base of every first down. Every first down, mostly every second down, depending on if even you could cover with this. You can even cover with you can go every second down. That first down successful, second and 8, or we getting them in the backfield, or they trying to pass and we getting sacks because of that personnel. You could send a blitz from any direction. You could still send Micah. You could still send Overshown right from the middle. Like I said, you could loop them to the edge or through any gap from the middle because they that fast, athletic, in a scheme, and they can start one place and end up another and still be there because of the athleticism and we know Micah definitely can. And then you still got Tank on the edge. You could send him. You could spy him. I mean, you could send him. You could have him to zone. Come and play a little coverage just to take an area out, just to be able to fill a spot that if a tight end catch a screen or somebody catch a screen, boom, you there, you stopping all that edge stuff, screens, outside runs, uh, quick slant pass, whatever. You're there. He got the IQ for it, and he got the athleticism enough still. But more so, you definitely gonna be using him for edge rush. You can switch it up. That's a great package. But that's my take. I really wish that I could really, you know, be a part of that somehow. But this the best way. Even with my little Blair, it's like it's going. I don't know what that is going in and out, but DC Star Power. I just wanted to bring that because of my movement, I guess. But yeah, and then not only that, like I said, the interior would be set. Damone would be able to be finally put in position and fit. And then for the future, this is the face. All these players are young. We get them all back. We really don't need to add much. If we lost Tank next year, while Tank is doing this, you also putting him in position to show and teach. And Damone, Damone played well week one. I believe that he was already good. We knew what he could do, but I feel like his mentality, his understanding of it was even better, not only because of Zimmerman, but also a year out, being able to watch from the sideline. Who you think is our next Overshown in the next season to come? Sam Williams. Sam Williams could learn from if you coach up Tank to do this, and it ain't like it's something that he hasn't done. He got hurt doing it. He was kind of playing the 3-4 edge when he dropped back against, I think it was the Tampa Bay game when he got hurt. I forgot what game it was he got hurt. But he got hurt. He was dropping back trying to cover, and he almost stopped the pass. I think it was a Tom Brady pass. And he ended up getting hurt a little bit after that, but because I guess it was a lot on his body. But I was saying that this is something that should have been done in the all season, getting them ready for doing it. But I think gradually it could still be done early in the season. Switch to that 3-4, um, and then allow those two to do that. And then any time that he might need to come out and get a break, boom, you shift Micah right there. 3-4 outside. Keep them three big dudes in the middle. Take Tank out, boom. You switch Mike. That's how you go. That's how you supposed to move Micah around. Let Micah complement substitutions in areas where, okay, you say Tank rush the edge a couple times, you need to come out, get a break. Boom. Who's the next person to go right there? Boom. You plug in Micah, you put in Lil Fowl or Kendricks back in the middle with Overshawn, or you can take both of them out, let Overshawn take a break, let Tank come out, take a break, move Micah in Tank's spot, put Lil Fowl and Kendricks in the middle together because Lil Fowl can learn a whole lot from Kendricks, right? Because he's gonna be in that rotation when Kendricks gone. You'll have Kendricks and Overshown in the middle. Damone and Sam Williams on the edge next year. Future stuff. And then you got 11 personnel without Micah on the field. And you can plug him in any four of them linebacker positions. We know he can play the edge, but more so his primary position would be middle linebacker, and everything else flows off of that. Movement around, submen in and out. Because Micah could do so much. That's using your versatility. That frees up if you want to add a wide receiver or D back to your final cut and roster. Instead of having four at a position, you can have three because Micah could shift into you got edge. You got instead of four edge guys, you can have three edge guys. Micah, let the young man be young. You got three instead of four middle linebackers. You got three. Boom, Micah. I mean, that might be a little stretch, but it can happen because of who Micah is. You use him to the best of his ability, like you need to use all the players to the best of their ability. This DC Star Power, someone to come and share that. I really would love to see this done this way because then you allow more big bodies instead of big bodies with versatility. Instead of it's like having 5 men on the line instead of 4. When you got 3 in the middle, but you got 2 protecting the edge, who are it's like you got both the best of both worlds because you got that edge speed and athleticism to get out the fast running backs, fast quarterbacks, whatever the case, seal the edge, seal the deal, get after it, but while still having that interior strength with 3 men instead of 2. With the versatility of the players we have, you'll now allow Nealon to grow and do what he does best and grow from that and become more. With that, again, if you lost Law, which I would hate to lose, I feel like he should retire, Cowboy. I hate to lose Tank. But because you paid Dak all that money, which I wouldn't have done, I would let him play a whole season for a contract. And then if he got us anywhere near Super Bowl, then you could give him that kind of money. But he don't have to play for it no more because he already got it. Not only that, you then took away an option that you could have had as far as doing other things, moving in a different direction, another identity. I'd let him play this full year with everything that you could possibly give him. We maxed out. We paid Lamb. You got a good roster. You got good pieces on the defense. You got 2 all pros on the O line. You got the best top 5 wide receiver. You got a tight end that now is ideal for a pass game and run game. You got a good second. Another thing with coaching. If Andy Reid was coaching this offense, Dak would look a lot like Mahomes. He would look like his MVP, arguably MVP year. That wouldn't have went away. It wouldn't go away. But for even better reasons, because you instead of it being CD, which you teams ain't going for that CD. I mean, he's amazing to even have caught that pass, that touchdown he got. That was in a double team. You're not going to be able to do that all the time in no double team. Teams with certain personnel going to be able to take CD out of the game. He was taken out of that game. In a way, he had a big play, that CD. But Cooks, Cooks, Andy Reid will be dialing up all kind of plays for Cooks, especially if you're going to try to double team and take CD out of the game. We'll still better force feed CD because he's CD, but it ain't going to be force fed with mistakes, interceptions, and turnovers, and no rhythm, no actual everybody involved, and you don't know the defense is off balance. Like, nah, Cook's gonna be catching some screens. You're gonna set it up where it's good blocks. You're gonna put the right people over there with him for a screen where he could just get some yardage and protect himself on the sideline. If you gotta get out of bounds, 15 yards, boom. He might have made a house call. He was 1,000-yard number 1 receiver. How is it that people are talking about him? We need a solid number 2. I mean, people think that every rock position, Cowboy fans think that money growing trees, they don't know nothing about cap, and that every position is supposed to be an all-pro, Pro Bowl position. We're supposed to have 22 all-pros, 11 on offense, 11 on defense. It's a balance. You got all-pros at the key positions, the right positions. You got 2 all-pro corners. You got pass rush, two all-pro pass rushers, one in which you only really need one. Utilize somebody like Damone on the other side, like I said, and Micah could do both. Still be that pass rusher, like I said, from however, but still be utilizing versatility where he can drop back in coverage. He could sideline to sideline, focus on stopping the run. It ain't just about the big guys in the middle. You got to have linebackers who can actually get to the ball, like Quan and them. They ain't had no all pro, big name uh, D linemen, but they were solid. That one that they re-signed that I was hoping we would get, he could be he's an all pro. He's going to go into being one. He's great. He's a great interior slash outside guy. He got the strength, just like Nealon. He's the same kind of guy like Nealon, but just a little more seasoned. But that's the way the defense should look. We should look very similar to the team we about to play today, the Baltimore Ravens, or at least the last year Baltimore Ravens when they had Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen should be our Overshawn, and Raekwon, that's our Micah. We should be using those two like those two, and they could even be better. They more lengthier. They could play a whole lot more of that pass lane. They got the same kind of athleticism and bigger bodies. Man, that would be nasty. That would be nasty. Secondary would look like the secondary last year because the pressure and the schemes, and you got to get that ball out there quick, and they're gonna jump routes, and you can still stop the run. I feel like Dan Quinn and Zimmerman together is perfect, and we have the personnel for that. Zimmerman was get after the quarterback, make him get rid of it. That's where a lot of the interceptions came from. But because you had those type of D linemen, run game was a weakness, and giving up some yardage was a weakness. But with Zimmerman, he wants to not give up those yardage. But yet still it'll happen if it's not done the way that I just shared. I'm gonna go out there and say it without pride, the way I said it. I feel like it should be done that way for sure, for sure. You could still keep some of those things. Them players know what Zimmerman taught them. And really it ain't even a lot to do with Zimmerman when it comes to the picks. I mean not Zimmerman, Dan Quinn. All it was with Dan Quinn was he was a guy to get out to the quarterback. He was about pass rush. That's why Mozzie lost the weight he lost. And I feel like we can do that and still have the big guys to stop the run. I've already said it, right? And then the ball come up quick, and then them boys is ball hawks, and we still getting them turnovers. We're still getting them turnovers every game, every game. Still getting them turn, lead the league in it, and still better stop the run. The only other thing that it would do, which I think with Wanye and like what I mentioned, to not give up so much yardage with Diggs and Bland and them could play ball hawk, but still not give because they could still play man and do it. They man and ball hawk, right? And you could do it in such a way where you got the right kind of safety help with big plays, which we were giving up because of the safeties. Big plays are not giving up when they pressing. A lot of Bland interceptions came from slant routes and across the middle stuff. But when it comes to that deep route, he in trouble, right? Diggs can cover that deep route. Diggs can cover it all, really, but Diggs be it matter which Diggs, which Trayvon you gonna get. Last week 2 was not a good Trayvon, especially after he said what he said. Then Olave took that. Looks like he took it personal, right? But it wasn't all on Diggs. It was on people being out of position, and then it sucked the life out of all the players. They looked defeated. They didn't look like the Cowboys defense we used to in the past couple years. So that's my take. Um, I know that these boys can get into a place of being number one defense because they already experienced the same personnel, with the exception of like Curse and everybody else that's gone, other than Curse. They should have been gone. We should have traded Armstrong when he had a little hot streak at the start of the year. We should have traded. I said we should have traded him. We're gonna lose him we lost him anyway. The players we lost was good to lose, with the exception of Pollard. And I'm even okay with losing Curse. It's just that he brought a mentality that I wish a player would step up and bring. And we only utilized him for a period of time where when he was like covering tight ends and what he was doing against the Kelseys and the one over in Oakland when he was there uh, 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 from the Giants. Can't think of his name right now. Waller, Darren Waller. So And we can get that out of Hooker. Hooker can cover the tight end. He got that frame. He got that IQ, and I think that he'll be able to do that. Put him at strong safety. But that would definitely like that deep. Oh my goodness! Start Wanye free, move Hooker to strong. Let Dono come in and play in certain will. You got Dono on the sideline. You'll have Kendrick on the sideline. You have Louisville on the sideline. Depth. Bell on the sideline. That's four DBs. Makumu, Mahamu, whatever his name is. That's five good players in package deals, certain packages at that second and third level. Boom. Then you got Liverpool on that front line, sub him in. You got what's the one that could sub in for Nealon? You got he been with us for a couple years now, I think. I forget, but you got good rotation. Got good rotation. If you let them play this way, three interior guys who are interior guys slash DNs who don't really got a lot of edge, but they're more so guys who can plug a spot. Might have to get a little stronger than backups, but them backups will be in on passing downs, not run downs. Your strength guys for this three-man front interior are Mozzie, Osa, and Nealon. And the guys, with the exception of Linval Joseph, I think he got some good strength, but he's older and, he's just a good fill-in piece for Mozzie. I feel like he could be that middle 3-4 guy. I think he might be big enough to do that. But then you also got Carlos Watkins, and then you got the young rookie Rogers, big bodies. Rogers should be a backup right there. Boom. Let him develop. Let him get in there and have some fun with them snaps where you know what to expect because they in the 3 and 3rd and 13 after we done dominated first and second down. 3rd and 8. You know it's probably gonna be a pass. And if they run, you got Wilson in there. You got Bell in there. Players who don't have to be rangy deep end, but they can be rangy in the middle, that intermediate, that middle, that 10 yards, 10 to 15 yards, and still can stop a run play if you think you're gonna throw a screen or something short on the 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. I just this personnel is it. We don't need nothing else really on either side of the ball. I know both sides got that progression will happen throughout the season. Like I said, Mozzie would be better, Overshown and Michael would even be better in their roles and getting using all of that with versatility. Louisville will be learning a lot, getting better and getting his reps. Wanye would finally really get the respect he deserved and even get better because he getting reps and he make plays. He makes plays when he has the opportunity. And then them other guys like Dono and them, they'll make plays too. They make plays, but they'll be more consistent in making plays because they will be utilized to make the plays that they make in the times that they'll be able to make them. It won't be a bad usage rate. You put them in when you know that this is what we need them in for. And Nealon, I already mentioned how he would get better throughout the season. Offensive side of the ball, Guyton and BB. That come with a whole lot of coaching of what plays and what time of play should be called and utilize and getting the ball out of Doc's hands. That's okay to do that. But then he'll also be able to sit in that pocket with time because of the tempo and the reading the defense and being okay, it's a blitz. That was a great play when he read that blitz and threw that touchdown to Cooks in week 1. More of that. Screen plays, using Turpin. The unit, the production that we got out of Cook last year should be exactly the same production that we get out of Turpin this year as Cook goes higher in production. His numbers, You can get him to 1,000 yards with CD. I think I know that he is that kind of good. And Ferguson filling in. Boom, Ferguson back this week. Ferguson, Lamb. You can really come off of Ferguson and Lamb as your safety net and focus on getting the ball in the hands of players like Turpin. Get Zeke in some screenplays. Zeke still. I think that a lot of other things went into Zeke not being the same Zeke. And I'm not saying that he will be the prime Zeke, but he won't be the Zeke that he was in his last year with us. And he actually looked fairly good in New England, considering what they had. But now back at home with what we got, he did good his first 2 weeks, especially week one. I take averaging 4 yards a carry. I take that because when we got the flow, we got teams on their heels. Then now we could like hide him, throw in Dalvin. Let's see what Dalvin got. Let Dalvin come into some of them beside third down. He's a good receiving back. Let him come in some third down. Let him catch a couple screens. Let him come across the middle and catch a couple passes. Let him hand off from the third and four, third and you think we're gonna pass? Let's build him up to trusting him for 3 yards, 4 yards on the third down. We got to run the ball more. Also going to help build leverage and build momentum for your young offensive linemen. When they could just get out there, they don't got to worry about what type of edge rusher coming, what type of interior rusher coming. I mean, BB do a good job, but let them just go out there and use their strength and go out and knock somebody over and get their run game going again. Use Tyler Guyton's speed, some sweeps, some outside runs where he don't got to worry about the first guy, but he could just somebody else gonna hit that. Let Tyler Smith hit that first guy in front of him. Shift over. We know Tyler can do that. Boom, and let Guyton run and go out there and block a safety or a linebacker or something and spring some of these runs to the next level. That's how you get more yardage out of your running backs. More of that. And that's going to be accompanied with what's going to catch defenses off guard where they don't have no choice in stopping that is when you stretch the run game with the pass game. Screens, boom. Lamb can do it. Boom. Turpin can do it. Boom. Cook can do it. Send them boys down the field. Why is Cooks running 15 yards routes all the time? Why he ain't 30 yards down and 40 yards down the field? Stretching that defense, taking the top, making they safeties, and now you got more space in the middle to work with because you got either Turpin or Cook using that speed. Anybody else going down the field, it's not highly respected. It's not we got to step back a little more. It's not we got to really shift our momentum in that direction because we know that that's coming off the top. No, that's why the Saints look so good because they use that with Sheed and they got Olave that could do it. Either one of them could do it. But we got players who can too. Four, 3, 4 players. Lamb got enough speed to stretch off the top, but we they know they expect Lamb. Utilize what you got better. Put players better in positions to be successful. Don't put players in a position with a good scheme, but the scheme is not good catered to the players. That scheme is good, but put the players in a position better that fits the scheme better where it complement other players to succeed, even if they not making a play. Where your D lineman could take up 2 players the right way and somebody else is free. Scheme that offense better. Play take some time in practice. Let the coaches go play some chess. Let's get everybody in the locker room and have 5 tables and let's have a chess tournament. Let's see who really got a counteractive mind. Who's a good counterpuncher. Talking about punching somebody in the mouth. You got better be a good counterpuncher when you're playing against somebody who also want to punch you in the mouth and good at it. DC Star Power. Over and out.